Hello everyone, it's freezing rain in Cleveland, Ohio. We are not complaining. We are used to our weather and we appreciate the four seasons in Cleveland. It's beautiful. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, but it's still beautiful and we are certainly grateful to God. Today I wanted to talk to you about generosity. I think generosity is one of the most beautiful virtues that we can have in our life, and it's probably uh, the easiest, but at the same time the hardest one to practice. It's the easiest because it doesn't really require much, only to be ready to give, only to be ready to share. Versus other virtues require more hard work, spiritual practices, reading, contemplating, and studying the church fathers, and it takes lots of efforts. For example, to have the virtue of stillness or peace, or not judging people, and many other virtues. But generosity is probably the most direct and easiest way to gain spiritual credits in heaven. Just like our Lord said, do not store up treasures on earth where rust and moth destroy it, but store up your treasures in heaven where no thieves, no rust, nothing can destroy it, and it will last forever. Whether we are rich or poor financially, whether we are well off or we live paycheck to paycheck, it doesn't really matter. We all have something to offer, we all have things to share, and we all have opportunities to be generous and to show generosity and to show charitable heart and to share with people. Sometimes when we talk about generosity, people confuse generosity with having lots of money. No, not only rich people have to be generous, but even the people who have uh, a very limited financial means. Because generosity can be a simple smile, a simple act of kindness. Generosity can be expressed uh, being thankful to the person, being kind to the person, even when you feel you are treated unfairly. You are ready to forgive, to move on, and not to ruin someone's day by being bitter or sour. These are simple acts of generosity that we can all show and share with people, and we are actually expected to be generous, and because God is generous to us, right? He lets the sun rise for all of us every single day, and He lets us to have a night time to rest. He sends rains, he sends rain showers, he sends all kind of different weathers and many other blessings that we don't necessarily earn or deserve even, but he's generously giving it, even to those who don't believe in him, who don't even recognize that he exists. He's still generous to those people. So he doesn't give only to those who respect him, who honor him, who believe in him. He gives to everyone. He gives to everyone with no exception, and he gives it unconditionally. He spreads his love upon the universe with no condition and with no limits. And this is what he wants us to do as well, because our time is limited on this earth, and whatever we have, and we all have things that God has given us. We all have gifts, free gifts given by God. But it's not only for us to use and to keep to ourselves, but it's for us to share, to give it to others, because by sharing we multiply. By sharing we become richer. But when we keep it to ourselves, we become even poorer. And I would like to share with you this beautiful story. It's an old story, and I'm sure you heard about this. In olden days when ice cream was cheaper, A young boy goes to the hotel lobby where him and his parents are staying. He goes to the hotel lobby and he asks the waitress how much is the chocolate ice cream. The waitress says it's 50 cents. The boy empties his pocket, he starts counting his coins, and then he says, how much is the vanilla regular ice cream? The waitress says 35 cents. She's answering all these questions patiently, and he says, I'll have a vanilla ice cream. So after the boy finishes his ice cream, he pays the 35 cents. He leaves the table, and when the waitress starts wiping the table, he sees that the boy left 15 cents as a tip. So he had 50 cents all in all. He could have had chocolate ice cream, and I'm sure the waitress wouldn't expect him to give tip. But the boy was so considerate and generous that he decided to have something less tasteful, or not his favorite ice cream, but just regular vanilla ice cream. But instead, to set aside some of his coins to give a tip. So this is a very simple story of generosity, and I'm sure you all have stories like this in your own life, and I'm sure you will all agree it feels so good to do something good to others, to help them, and to see how we can make someone happy. To me, that's one of my most favorite things, when I'm given an opportunity to make someone happy. That's the reason when it's the stewardship campaign time and it's fast approaching in our church, I always tell our parishioners, we are not asking you to give money, to give donation to the church. Instead, church in her wisdom gives you the opportunity to become generous, to show generosity, to show charity, because that's the easiest way to gain the favor of God. I always say, we are giving you an opportunity to do charity. So it's not that you give to the church, but the church gives to you. So by giving, we receive. Our Lord said, it's always better to give than to receive. And it's truly a joyful experience when you are able to give someone a glimpse of happiness or joy, or support, and to see that happy face, to see that you were able, with God's grace, to make a difference in someone's life. So be generous, especially as the holidays approach. Pick a few causes that are dear to your heart, whether it's your church, other charitable organizations, and show your support. But most importantly, show a charitable and generous heart every single day when you see and interact with other human beings, because that's what really makes a huge difference. Giving money is easy, but being kind to people, being really nice to them, is much harder. So be generous, and may the Lord bless you all richly.